Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm going to be explaining the lactate pathways. Okay, so the lactate pathway between the muscle and the liver is basically the Cori cycle. So what's going on here is it's that biomechanical reaction to it, and it's the liver which synthesizes the glucose from lactate and then is released from the active muscles. So here it's going in as it's created right there in the liver as glucose. Glucose then travels into that active muscle because it needs the energy to continue to do whatever it is doing. And then once it's in that active muscle, it's then broken out into pyruvate, then back into lactate. Those lactates then travel back into the liver. And then as you can see, that's how that cycle works there. The Cori cycle removes lactate from the active muscles and uses it to replenish the glycogen reserves. Exercise intensity and training adaptations. So in intense physical activity, the glycogen in the inactive tissue supplies the needs for the active muscles. So let's say I'm doing a back squat. Obviously, I'm going to need the active muscles there are my quads. So probably the glycogen from like my upper body, obviously not needed as much. So then that's going to go down into the quads just to make sure that those have enough glycogen to be able to perform that exercise. Then the inactive tissues release the lactate back into their circulation, and then it proceeds back into the liver, just like how the Cori cycle that I just explained. That's what's going on there. Aerobic training has 4 training adaptations that occur, which consist of body composition changes like body fat changes, muscle mass changes, things like that, body heat transfer, performance changes, and psychologic benefits. Because it says that with lactate, it helps improve brain performance. Now, lactate versus lactic acid. I've heard people use these two as like the same thing, but they are different. So the lactic acid is acid formed during anaerobic glycolysis that the body quickly dissociates to release a hydrogen ion. The remainder then binds with a positive charged sodium or potassium ion to form the lactate. Lactate is the end product of this, specifically the end product of the anaerobic glycolysis. So basically, lactic acid is what starts to produce lactate, and then it binds to this sodium or potassium in order to become lactate. So lactic acid is pre-lactate. Lactate is used metabolically, so it does play a role in metabolism during high-intensity training because it says that people tend to reach their lactate threshold more through high-intensity anaerobic training as well as aerobic training, but it is seen more in anaerobic training. Lactate is a major energy source, a major gluconeogenic precursor, and delivers oxidative and gluconeogenic substrates, which was shown in that article that I found. Lactate has also been known to use as fuel when it comes to brain preparations. That's like I mentioned in this slide before. Consequences of lactate accumulation is really only occurs when it's a disappearance by oxidation or substrate conversion that does not match its production. Basically where it's not like matching to what is being produced. Blood lactate accumulation accelerates as intensity level increases. So I think it stops at like that 1, and then once it reaches 1, it'll go up higher. And the consequences of lactate accumulation is that it plays a role in fatigue due to lactate reverting back into pyruvate. So yeah, once you reach your lactate threshold, then you're obviously like reach like your physical activity peak. So that's when you start feeling almost like that fatigue hit, and obviously you start decreasing in your energy. And those are the references that I've used, and yeah, thank you.